First contact in the storm. Lieutenant James Harrison had seen his share of Martian storms, but this one was different. The solar winds howled against Mars Base Omega's reinforced walls with unprecedented fury, casting eerie crimson shadows through the observation dome. As chief of security, he should have been reviewing evacuation protocols, but something on his long-range scanner demanded attention, an anomalous energy signature, moving against the storm's flow. Control, this is Harrison. I'm picking up something unusual in Sector 7, he reported, adjusting the sensitivity of his instruments. The response came through static-filled and broken. Lee. Tenant, stay, position, too dangerous. Harrison checked his environment suit's integrity for the third time. The rational choice would be to wait out the storm. But 20 years of military service had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, they were screaming that whatever was out there wouldn't survive that long. Control, I'm going to investigate. Harrison out. He sealed his helmet before Control could object. The airlock cycled with a hiss, and Harrison stepped into chaos. The storm painted everything in shades of red and orange, visibility reduced to mere meters. His suit stabilizers fought against winds that could tear an unprepared person right off the planet's surface. Following his scanner's guidance, Harrison trudged through the storm. Each step required careful calculation. Too much force would send him flying, too little would leave him stuck. The energy signature grew stronger, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Then he saw it. Through the swirling dust, a shape emerged that defied conventional explanation. It was a crashed vessel, but like nothing in Earth's aerospace catalog. The design spoke of organic curves and impossible geometries, its hull shimming with what appeared to be living metal. My God, Harrison whispered, approaching the wreck. That's when he saw the pilot. The being lay half-ejected from the cockpit, its form humanoid but clearly alien. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, its body was covered in what appeared to be crystalline scales that shifted color with each labored breath. But what struck Harrison most were its eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle, each one holding the depth and wisdom of centuries. The alien's chest bore a grievous wound, leaking a luminescent fluid that seemed to evaporate in the Martian atmosphere. Its hand, 6-fingered and elegant, reached toward Harrison with desperate purpose. Without hesitation, Harrison activated his emergency beacon and moved to help. As he touched the alien's arm, a jolt of electricity passed between them, and suddenly his mind exploded with images, a civilization of crystal cities floating among the stars, a terrible betrayal, a desperate flight across galaxies, and a warning that made his blood run cold. Hold on, he said, knowing the alien couldn't understand him but hoping his tone would convey his intent. I'm getting you out of here. The alien's 3 eyes focused on him with startling clarity. Its mouth moved, and impossibly, words formed in Harrison's mind, the harbingers come. Your world must know. Using all his strength, Harrison carefully extracted the alien from the wreckage. His suit's medical sensors were going haywire, unable to make sense of the being's physiology. But one thing was clear, without immediate help, the alien would die. As Harrison began the arduous journey back to base, carrying his extraordinary burden, the storm intensified. His suit's power reserves dropped precipitously, and the base's beacon became increasingly difficult to track. But he pressed on, each step a battle against nature itself. The alien's consciousness flickered in and out of his mind, leaving fragments of urgent knowledge, coordinates to distant stars, images of massive fleets gathering in dark space, and a sense of imminent danger that transcended language. Finally, the base's lights pierced through the storm's veil. Harrison's legs trembled with exhaustion, his suit's power nearly depleted. The airlock never looked more welcoming. Control, this is Harrison, he managed through labored breath. I'm coming in hot, and I'm not alone. Get Dr. Patel to the medical bay immediately. And contact the director. She needs to hear this. As the airlock cycled, Harrison looked down at his unconscious charge. In saving this one life, he knew he had just irrevocably altered the course of human history. The storm raged on outside, but an even greater tempest was about to break across two civilizations. The alien's third eye opened slightly, meeting Harrison's gaze. In that moment, a single thought passed between them, clear as a bell: the war for tomorrow begins now. Hidden truths. The medical bay of Mars Base Omega hummed with unfamiliar energy. Dr. Patel's hands moved swiftly over holographic displays as she attempted to stabilize their extraordinary patient. The alien's crystalline scales had taken on a dull, matte appearance, a bad sign, Harrison suspected, though he couldn't say why he knew this. Their biology is unlike anything I've ever seen, Dr. Patel muttered, her dark eyes fixed on rapidly changing readouts. The cellular structure seems to be both organic and crystalline, and there's some kind of quantum effect I can't even begin to understand. Director Helena Zhou stood at the observation window, her expression unreadable. Lieutenant Harrison, run me through it again. Every detail. Before Harrison could respond, a violent tremor rocked the medical bay. The alien's three eyes snapped open, and suddenly every screen in the room erupted with cascading symbols. They're coming, the alien's voice resonated directly in their minds. The harbingers have found me. Dr. Patel stepped back, startled. Telepathic communication. Incredible. The alien struggled to sit up. I am Keon, last speaker of the Crystalline Concordat. Your world stands on the edge of extinction, and you don't even know it. Director Zhou moved closer, her military training evident in her measured steps. Explain. Through the mental link, Keon shared visions of a terrible force moving through the galaxy. The Harbingers, a species that consumed civilizations not by destroying them, but by subtly altering their development over centuries. They were architects of extinction, ensuring species destroyed themselves before reaching the stars. Earth was seeded with their agents centuries ago, Keon revealed. Your recent technological advancement, your sudden leaps in AI and quantum computing, they're not natural progress. They're carefully orchestrated steps toward your own destruction. Harrison felt his world tilting on its axis. The Mars colony's isolation protocols were likely influenced by their agents, Keon confirmed. Dividing humanity, creating artificial barriers, fostering conflicts, these are their methods. Another tremor shook the base, stronger this time. Harrison checked his tablet. Multiple unauthorized ships were entering Mars orbit, bearing UN peacekeeping signatures. Those aren't peacekeepers, Keon warned. The Harbingers have accelerated their timeline because of my presence. They'll eliminate everyone who's seen me and engineer a conflict between Earth and Mars to distract from their true purpose. Director Zhou's face hardened. How do we stop them? There's a network of ancient defensive systems left by my people throughout this solar system, Keon explained. If we can activate them. The alien suddenly convulsed, crystalline scales flickering with urgent light. Dr. Patel rushed forward with stabilizers, but Keon waved her away. No time. Harrison, the connection we shared in the storm, it wasn't random. Your genetic structure carries traces of my people's influence. You can help me activate the defenses. Security alarms blared throughout the base. Harrison's tablet showed armed teams breaching the upper levels. Director, Harrison turned to Zhou, we need to evacuate. Now. Zhou nodded sharply. Dr. Patel, initiate Protocol Omega. Wipe the medical databases and prep emergency transport. She turned to Harrison. Lieutenant, get our guest to sublevel 3. There's a prototype shuttle there. Authorization code, Zhou Alpha 97. You're not coming? Harrison asked, already helping Keon to their feet. Someone needs to buy you time. Zhou checked her sidearm. Humanity's survival matters more than any one life. Go. As Harrison and Keon made their way through emergency corridors, the base erupted into chaos. False peacekeepers engaged in firefights with security teams, while automated systems blared warnings about hull breaches and failing life support. Through their mental link, Harrison felt Keon's growing concern. "Your director Zhou, she knows more than she reveals. The resistance against the Harbingers, it's already begun. There are others like her, preparing in secret." They reached the prototype shuttle, a sleek vessel that looked more advanced than anything Harrison had seen in official channels. As they boarded, Harrison caught glimpses through Keon's memories, a network of human rebels working with scattered alien allies, ancient weapons waiting to be awakened, and a desperate plan centuries in the making. The shuttle's engines hummed to life as explosions rocked the base above them. Through the mental link, Harrison felt Zhou's final message: find the others. Save our worlds. As they burst from the hidden launch bay into the Martian storm, Harrison saw multiple ships turning to pursue them. But Keon's hands moved over the controls with familiar purpose, and suddenly the shuttle's hull rippled with the same living metal as their crashed vessel. "The real war begins now," Keon said as they accelerated toward the stars. "Are you ready to learn the truth about everything you thought you knew?" Harrison watched Mars recede behind them, knowing he was leaving behind not just his post, but everything he had ever believed about humanity's place in the universe. "We don't have a choice, do we?" The shuttle systems interfaced directly with Keon's crystalline biology, plotting a course to coordinates buried deep in human genetic memory. The truth was out there, hidden in plain sight throughout human history. And now, racing against time and pursued by humanity's oldest enemies, they had to find it before the Harbingers completed their ancient mission. The Alliance. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Harrison watched in awe as their shuttle approached what appeared to be an ordinary space rock. But as they drew closer, the asteroid's surface rippled like liquid metal, revealing a hidden docking port. "The Sanctuary," Keon explained, their crystalline form pulsing with renewed energy. "One of many outposts established by the Resistance. Your people call them conspiracy theorists or doomsday preppers. In truth, they're the descendants of those who never forgot their true heritage." The docking sequence initiated automatically, and their shuttle was drawn into a vast chamber that defied explanation. The walls were alive with the same crystalline technology that composed Keon's body, and dozens of ships, some human, some clearly alien, filled the space. "Welcome to the last free port in the solar system," a voice called out. A tall woman with silver-streaked hair and weathered features approached them. Her right arm was a sophisticated prosthetic that seemed to incorporate both human and alien technology. "Commander Reed," Keon inclined their head respectfully. "The Harbingers have accelerated their timeline." "So we've noticed," Reed replied grimly. "Ever since your crash landing, our deep space arrays have detected massive energy signatures approaching the solar system. They're done being subtle." She turned to Harrison. "Lieutenant, welcome to the real war." Harrison followed them through corridors that blended seamlessly between human and alien architecture. People of all nationalities worked alongside beings of various species, some humanoid, others completely alien in form. "How long has this been going on?" Harrison asked, struggling to process the scale of what he was seeing. "Officially? This base has existed for 15 years, Reed answered. "Unofficially? The Resistance has been preparing for generations. The Harbingers thought they could manipulate human development, but they didn't count on our adaptability." They entered a vast command center where a holographic display showed the solar system in perfect detail. Red markers indicated Harbinger activity, spreading like a virus through human space. "They've already taken control of most major Earth governments," a new voice announced. A man stepped forward, his eyes glowing with subtle cybernetic enhancements. "Captain Marcus Chen, Earth Intelligence Division. Or what's left of it." Chen manipulated the hologram, highlighting key points throughout the system. The Harbingers have infiltrated every level of power. They're pushing us toward a war between Earth and Mars that would devastate both populations, leaving humanity too weak to resist their final phase. But we have a chance, Keon interjected. The defensive network my people left behind, it's more than just weapons. It's a key to awakening humanity's dormant potential. Reed nodded. We've detected 7 primary nodes throughout the solar system. If we can activate them all simultaneously, it will not only give us the firepower to resist the Harbinger fleet, but it will also awaken the latent abilities in human DNA, abilities your ancestors shared with Keon's people. Harrison felt a familiar tingle in his mind as Keon shared more memories, ancient humans working alongside the crystalline Concordat, learning to harness powers that modern science had forgotten. The genetic potential lay dormant in every human, waiting to be reactivated. We've assembled strike teams, Chen explained, but we need someone with the right genetic marker to activate each node. Harrison, the connection you share with Keon proves you're one of the few humans whose DNA retained enough of the ancient sequence. And we're not alone, a melodic voice added. A young woman with intricate tattoos that seemed to shift and move approached the group. I'm Dr. Lyra Patel's daughter, Kira. Mom sent me here months ago when she first discovered the truth in her genetics research. Harrison's head spun as more allies emerged from the shadows. Captain Yuki Tanaka of the Japanese Space Defense Force, whose dreams of ancient stars had led her to the resistance, Dr. Omar al-Rashid, whose archaeological discoveries had been suppressed by Harbinger agents, and others, each bearing their own story of awakening to the truth. The Harbingers think humanity is alone and vulnerable, Reed declared. They don't realize we've been building this alliance in secret, gathering strength, waiting for the right moment. A warning klaxon suddenly blared through the base. Chen rushed to a console, his cybernetic eyes flashing. Multiple signatures detected. They found us. Good, Keon said, their crystalline form brightening with fierce determination. Let them come. It's time humanity remembered who they really are. Harrison felt the power humming through the base as ancient defenses activated. Through his link with Keon, he sensed the truth that had been hidden from humanity for millennia. They were never meant to be alone among the stars. They were part of something greater, something the Harbingers had tried to make them forget. Commander, Harrison stepped forward, feeling the weight of history and destiny converging in this moment. What are your orders? Reed's prosthetic arm glowed with power as she interfaced with the base's systems. We split into teams. Hit all 7 nodes before the Harbingers can stop us. Awaken humanity's true potential. And then, she smiled grimly, we take back our solar system. The assembled allies moved with purpose, each knowing their role in the coming battle. As Harrison prepared to lead his team to their assigned node, he caught Keon's three-eyed gaze. In that moment, he understood that everything, his career, his beliefs, his very understanding of human history, had been preparing him for this moment. The war for humanity's soul was about to begin, and this time, they wouldn't be fighting alone. Breaking point. The void between Venus and Mercury blazed with weapons fire as Harrison's team approached their target node. Their ship, a hybrid of human and crystalline technology, weaved through the chaos of space combat. Behind them, 3 Harbinger vessels gave chase, their organic mechanical forms writhing with malevolent purpose. Status report, Harrison commanded, his mental link with Keon allowing him to process the battle data streaming through their shared consciousness. Node activation teams 1 and 2 have reached their targets, Kira reported, her fingers dancing over crystalline controls. Captain Tanaka's team is pinned down near Jupiter, and we've lost contact with Dr. Al-Rashid's group near Saturn. Through the viewport, Harrison watched a Harbinger beam slice through a resistance fighter, the ship dissolving into particles of light. They were losing this battle, losing badly. Incoming transmission from Commander Reed, Chen announced, his cybernetic eyes flickering with data. Reed's holographic form materialized, her face bearing fresh scars. Harrison, the Harbingers have launched their endgame. They're not just trying to stop us, they're initiating a full invasion. Millions of ships are emerging from fold space throughout the system. The final protocol, Keon's crystalline form dimmed with concern. They mean to harvest humanity's potential by force, absorbing your species into their collective. Harrison felt the weight of centuries pressing down on him. Everything, the hidden resistance, humanity's suppressed abilities, the nodes left by Keon's people, it all came down to this moment. New contact. Chen's warning came too late. A massive Harbinger vessel emerged from nowhere, its surface a nightmare of twisted metal and pulsing organic matter. Energy tentacles lashed out, grasping their ship and flooding their systems with alien code. They're trying to access our minds. Kira screamed, her awakening abilities making her especially vulnerable to the psychic assault. Harrison reached for her, but his body wouldn't respond. Through their mental link, he felt Keon fighting desperately against the invasion, their crystalline form flickering between states of matter. Then, in the midst of chaos, clarity struck. Keon, Harrison forced the words out, the genetic key, it works both ways, doesn't it? The nodes don't just awaken human abilities. They restore the connection, Keon finished, understanding dawning in their three eyes. The original bridge between our species. But Harrison, attempting to force it now, without proper preparation, could kill us all, Harrison nodded. But if we don't try, humanity dies anyway. The Harbinger ship pulled them closer, its surface parting like hungry jaws. Throughout the solar system, Harrison could sense other teams facing similar desperate situations. The resistance was failing. Everyone, Harrison broadcast to all surviving teams, fall back to the nodes. Whatever happens next. I'm sorry. Before anyone could object, Harrison grabbed Keon's crystalline hand. Their minds merged completely, barriers shattering. Memories flooded between them, not just their own, but the genetic memory of two species who had once reached for the stars together. Pain exploded through Harrison's body as his DNA rewrote itself, accepting patterns it had forgotten eons ago. Through their shared agony, he felt Keon's form shifting, becoming something neither human nor crystalline, but a bridge between worlds. Now! Harrison roared, his consciousness expanding beyond human limits. Activate all nodes. Throughout the solar system, the ancient devices hummed to life. But instead of weapons, they created something else, a network of pure possibility, connecting every human mind to the forgotten wisdom of the crystalline concordat. The Harbinger ship recoiled as if struck. Inside their vessel, Harrison and his team underwent a transformation beyond anything their enemies had predicted. Humanity wasn't just awakening to its potential, it was remembering what it had once been. Kira's eyes blazed with starfire as she accessed abilities hidden in her genes. Chen's cybernetics merged with crystalline technology, becoming something entirely new. Throughout human space, millions experienced the same awakening. But victory wasn't assured. The Harbinger fleet pressed their attack, determined to crush humanity before the transformation could complete. And in the chaos of battle, Harrison realized that the hardest choice still lay ahead. The nodes, Keon's voice echoed in his mind, now inseparable from his own thoughts. They can be overloaded. The resulting cascade would create a quantum barrier around the solar system, but what's the cost? Harrison asked, already knowing the answer. Through their link, Keon shared the truth. Overloading the nodes would cut Earth off from the rest of the galaxy for generations. Humanity would have time to master its awakened potential, but they would face centuries of isolation. Commander Reed, Harrison opened a channel, even as more Harbinger ships surrounded them. I need authorization for Node Protocol Omega. Reed's response came through static, the ultimate firewall. You know what this means, Harrison? We'll be alone. No, Harrison looked at his transformed team, at the bridge they'd built between species. Not alone. Just independent. For a while. Do it, Reed commanded. Give humanity the time it needs. As Harrison reached for the final controls, he felt the weight of two civilizations' hopes resting on his decision. The future was uncertain, but for the first time since this war began, it was truly their own. The nodes pulsed with blinding light, and the solar system trembled on the edge of a new age. Dawn of Unity. The quantum barrier shimmered like an iridescent soap bubble around the solar system, its surface rippling with energies no human science could have measured a day ago. The Harbinger fleet hung motionless beyond it, their organic mechanical forms twisting in frustrated rage as their prey slipped from their grasp. Inside the barrier, humanity was changing. Harrison stood at the observation deck of the sanctuary, his transformed body incorporating both human and crystalline aspects. Through his enhanced senses, he could feel the collective consciousness of humanity awakening, millions of minds grappling with abilities they'd forgotten they possessed. The transformation is accelerating, Keon observed, their form now a perfect synthesis of both species. Faster than we anticipated. Below them, Earth glowed with new purpose. Cities were rebuilding themselves with crystalline technology, while ships of hybrid design carried humanity's first true spacefaring civilization throughout the solar system. The barrier had cut them off from the galaxy, but it had also given them room to grow. Commander Reed is calling all resistance leaders, Chen announced, his cybernetic systems now seamlessly merged with crystalline interfaces. The council is convening. In the sanctuary's great hall, holographic representatives from every corner of human space gathered. Reed stood at the center, her prosthetic arm now a masterwork of hybrid technology. The Harbingers remain beyond the barrier, she began, but our deep space arrays detect them gathering reinforcements. They'll find a way through eventually. We need to be ready. The old power structures are collapsing, Kira reported, her form shimmering with starfire. Earth's governments are being replaced by new councils, people whose genetic awakening has given them the wisdom to lead. Not everyone is adapting well to the change, Captain Tanaka added, her image flickering from Jupiter orbit. We're seeing resistance, fear, confusion. Some are calling it the end of human civilization. They're right, Harrison stepped forward. It is the end, and a beginning. We're becoming what we were always meant to be. Through his link with Keon, he shared visions of humanity's potential future, crystal cities extending throughout the solar system, a unified civilization mastering both technology and consciousness, preparing for the day when the barrier would fall and they would face the galaxy again. We have 20 years, Dr. Al-Rashid's voice came from Saturn's rings, where he led research into the ancient nodes. The barrier will hold that long. After that, we meet our destiny, Harrison finished. Not as victims or prey, but as equals. The council erupted in discussion, plans forming for humanity's transformation. But a warning klaxon cut through the debate. Chen's eyes widened as he processed the data. Multiple quantum fluctuations detected, he reported. Something's coming through the barrier. But what emerged wasn't the Harbinger fleet. Small crystalline seeds, dozens of them, pierced the quantum veil. Each one carried a message, a signal from other civilizations that had escaped the Harbingers, offering knowledge, alliance, and hope. We're not alone, Keon's 3 eyes blazed with joy. My people, the survivors, they found others. They're sending us everything they know, everything we'll need. Harrison felt the weight of possibility pressing against his consciousness. Then we have work to do. The years that followed would be called many things, the awakening, the synthesis, the great transformation. Humanity evolved not just physically and technologically, but spiritually and culturally. The barrier around the solar system became not a prison, but a crucible where a new civilization was forged. 20 years later, Harrison stood on Mars, watching Earth rise over the crystalline spires of New Olympus. Beside him, Keon's form shimmered with anticipation. The barrier was thinning, right on schedule. The harbingers are still out there, Kira approached, her daughter, a perfect blend of human and crystalline genetics, playing with floating light sculptures nearby. Along with everything else the galaxy holds. Let them come, Harrison smiled, feeling the strength of a unified humanity humming through the crystalline network that connected them all. We're ready now. Above them, the quantum barrier began to fade, revealing the star-studded galaxy beyond. But this time, humanity wasn't facing it alone or unprepared. They had become something new, something that even the harbingers couldn't have predicted. Throughout the solar system, ships of hybrid design powered up their engines. The combined knowledge of two civilizations had created defenses that would make any invader pause. But more importantly, it had created a people who understood their place in the cosmos. It was never about the technology, was it? Harrison asked Keon as they watched the barrier's final dissolution. The harbingers tried to keep us divided, afraid, because they knew what would happen if humanity ever truly united. Your species always had the potential, Keon replied. You just needed to remember who you were. As the last traces of the barrier faded, Harrison felt a new chapter beginning. Humanity had been tested, transformed, and awakened to its true heritage. The galaxy awaited, and this time, they were ready to take their place among the stars. Not as conquerors or victims, but as guardians of a legacy greater than any single species. The dawn of unity had arrived, and with it, the promise of adventures yet to come. The stars beckoned, and humanity, in all its newfound diversity and power, reached for them together.